Security on the border. Do we really need it? By Jonathan Ruiz. Let's start with the Bracero program. When the United States entered World War II in late 1941, there were service and agriculture shortage throughout the Southwest. The United States approached Mexico to negotiate a bilateral treaty known as the Bracero Accords. This allowed Mexican workers to get temporary visas. In 1942, there were 4,200 workers. By 1944, there were 62,100 Bracero workers. After the war in 1947, the United States lowered entries to just 20,000. The economy was booming after the war, but people did not want to work low-skilled jobs. The United States needed workers in the factories and agriculture sectors. So Congress increased Bracero entries every year after 1948, peaking in 1952 with 544,000 Bracero workers. In 1965, Congress terminated the Bracero program, ending a long-standing and massive guest worker program. Now the only way Mexicans could enter the U.S. was by resident visas that were capped at 20,000 per year. Now I'm going to tell you a little story about my family. My uncle Jaime and my dad Daniel came to America after the Bracero program was terminated. They came 14 years separate from each other. My uncle Jaime came in 1970 when he was 17 years old. When he crossed through the San Diego border, he became a legal resident in 1972, just after 2 years working in the farm. After he got his green card, he went back to Mexico. Every year during harvest season in Salinas, California, he went back to work for the agriculture crops. He lived in Salinas when it was harvest season, but went back to Mexico for the rest of the year. He loved Mexico and he never could get used to the culture in California. He paid taxes and received a pension from Vanguard Seed Corporation. His brother Daniel, at the age of 18, tried to cross the border in 1984. It was tougher to cross at the San Diego border because of increased border patrol. He tried to cross the border again, but this time through the southern border of Arizona in spring 1985. He crossed the border with ease and met with his brother in Salinas. He began to work for Vanguard as well, but it was tougher to get his green card compared to his brother. He waited 6 years until he became a resident. He wanted to do the same thing his brother was doing, working for 6 months and then going back home to Mexico and live where he knew the culture. He couldn't go back to Mexico because he was illegal in the United States. So he waited till he got his green card to go back to Mexico without any problems. Many people come to the United States for many push factors, like economic hardship, injustice, drought, famine, or religious differences. Many people do not want to leave their homeland, but have to for survival of their family, or to improve their family life. The United States thinks that increasing border control will make America safe and an economic power. Douglas Massey argues that the United States should be doing the opposite of trying to increase border patrol or building a wall. When we raise security on the border, we cut circular migration. The United States creates immigrants to stay and bring their families because it's cheaper for them to stay instead of all the difficulties of entering and leaving through the border.
Para que rompa con mi canto las fronteras, les voy a abrir de par en par mi